right, welcome back. New Dawn it is. And you know, we do not have any names or anything for the shows anymore. Each show will just be absolutely brilliant. And this is going to be our first brilliant show of the year. And who better to start it? But I said to myself at the beginning of this year that I would play her album every time because I'm a creative. And it's a reminder for me that no matter what is happening, you focus on what is important. And I think that is what she did, and that's how she is here. But then she's here, she's going to tell us all about that. The thing that most people don't know is that Asha's name is Bukola Elemide. Good morning, Bukola. She just, no. You're home. And you know, everywhere around the world now, everybody will be talking Asha. But you know, I am also concerned about Bukola. That girl who used to sit in the Molue buses and compose songs in her mind, you know. I've listened to this album, you know, even before this album came out, I have listened to your work. I have been sort of like an Asha groupie, you know, but with this, it just took a completely different dimension. And I ask you that where do these songs come from?
Well, they're different situations. Sometimes some of them came from just being lonely, sometimes being sad, sometimes being happy. And mostly me asking questions like, I am a young girl in Nigeria. I had dreams as a child, and as I grow, I begin to see that those dreams might not come true, you know, and I begin to ask questions. I ask my mates, do you see this, you know, do you share my point of view? And I write, you know.
Okay, I'm beginning to worry about you. Because at that time when you were asking those questions, I can imagine how other young people, in fact, even older people would have reacted to you at that time. It was not an easy growing up, was it?
It wasn't easy because I had to mature at maybe 12 or 11. My father wasn't that easy on us too. He was, I think he and my mother were working. They were trying to feed us. We understood that. But at that time, I didn't really understand. I thought they were being wicked. So they would leave home for 2 weeks and let me be the mother of the house. So my mates were playing. I would be at home taking care of my brothers. So I also saw another side of life. You know, I knew what it meant to have food and what it meant not to have food. Not like we were poor, but we were just in the middle. But I had lived in all kinds of situations, and I'm very happy. Today I'm grown. I'm everywhere, and I know how to adjust to
whatever situation. You know, that situation, I can understand what you're talking about on a deep level because, you know, my mother died when I was very young, and then my father had to be the sole parent, and that meant he was never at home too. So I was the oldest, and I was the only girl, just like you, and I had 3 brothers, and I had to be their mother.
Oh, yes.
And I understand what you mean about the important things in life because, you know, when you are like that, because, I mean, my nickname was Old Girl. My mates thought I was so old, you know, they thought I was so uncool and so old, you know, because you had to focus on the things that were most important. Did this come in useful, particularly in music? You know how it is with music. A young, good-looking woman, what they want to do is sexify her, beat her into a particular mold that works. How did you fight that?
Well, I think I made a decision when I was 18. I was still juvenile in school, you know, playing around, like in subway. That was true. My mother always told me to be careful. And when I was 18,
girlfriend, my daughter is 6. Since that subway song, I've been saying, sir,
but
be careful of when somebody comes to say I love you. I'm saying to her every day.
She always told me that, you know, she always told me that. And I also saw her situation. She didn't have the best marriage. And, well, at 18, I wanted a path. I have read about a lot of people. I followed Fela's story, Bob Marley. I wanted a voice. I had listened to the radio. It was full of American influences. I got bored at that time. Where do I want to go? I want to make a name for myself. I want to be called Asha. At that point, I decided to be called Asha because Bukola when you call me Bukola, I'm a girl. I'm like, I don't like that.
I hate that girl. The first time a girl comes into my office and I talk to her, she's like, hey, and I'm like, drop it now at that door.
That's the name my parents call me, and when they call me Bukola, I'm sure I'm in trouble. Bukola, I know I'm in trouble.
Because you used to get into a bit of trouble.
Well, I was the good child, you know. I was the good child, not the favorite, but I was the good child because I wanted to have my father say good girl, my mother say good girl, but when it was time for beating, they never stopped. They always beat. And I was asking, I'm the only girl. I should have.
Do you think they were harder on you because you were a girl?
No, they were the same with everybody. Me and my older brother, they were the same. They were very tough on us. So I think it helped me at that time, at 18, to have a direction. I was living with my grandparents then. They were Muslim. It was very difficult for me too because they didn't understand. All my life, I'd always had one negative thing about how you sing, how you look. I had to leave choir because they wouldn't give me the mic. And that's the reason why I was in the choir in the first place.
You went there so that you could get a voice.
To sing, yes.
What was wrong with your voice?
I don't know. I'd always say,
they didn't.
I always had attention right from when I was a kid.
And what was the problem with the way you looked as far as they were concerned?
I don't know. I think it was politics. If your father is not that rich, or I don't know. I was always behind. I was short, but I was behind, and wouldn't have the mic. So I left. I've always been in movement, always moving all my life, and I left. And I started in my grandparents' house. I had a room to myself. I would scream and shout, and I started going back to learning my language, Yoruba. I couldn't speak Yoruba. I thought at first it was a joke until people started laughing at me. I wanted an identity. Where am I from? I'm from Nigeria. What tribe? Yoruba. And I started that room, listening to the radio every day, and learning the language gradually.
And they were listening to Yoruba radio, I'm sure.
No, it was my choice. It was my choice. I remember disturbing my grandparents. They always laugh. My grandparents are typical Lagosians. And I say, Grandma, what does this mean? They say, but I'm doing Yoruba, But I wanted that.
That's an incredible thing because, look at your work. Yeah. Your work is transcendental because there are some parts of, I feel lucky because I'm Yoruba and I can understand the depth of some of the things you're saying. Of course, it doesn't matter if you're not Yoruba, the music is so sublime that you will love it anyway.